The Turian fleet makes up the majority of the Citadel fleet, and CSEC, Citadel's security, was created by Turians. That's why the majority of CSEC before Mass Effect 2 was composed of Turians. After Mass Effect 2, after the destruction of Sovereign and a lot of CSEC disappeared because most of them died, they wanted to recruit as much as possible, so they started to recruit a lot of humans and Solarians, different races. So after Mass Effect 2, CSEC started to get more diverse. But in the beginning, it was mostly composed of Turians. Turians also make the best Spectres in the Council's point of view because of their discipline and because of their sense of duty and all that. But CSEC actually doesn't really like Spectres. And the reason why is because Spectres have so much freedom. There's like no discipline involved in being a Spectre. And that's what Turians really, that's what makes a Turian, is their discipline. And CSEC, since it was created by Turians, they work a lot with discipline. So that's why CSEC kind of bumps heads with Spectres. The head of CSEC in Mass Effect 1 was the Turian council member, Executor Palin. He was the one that freaking hated Shepard. But there's a confusion behind this. Not a lot of people know that actually Executor Palin died. He was killed. And you know who killed him? Captain Bailey killed Executor Palin. He was the freaking Turian council member. This happened in the comic, the online comic, called Inquisition. This is actually a pretty good comic, and a lot of people don't really consider it important, this comic, when it is pretty damn important, and I think it has a lot to do. It alludes a lot to Mass Effect 3, especially when it comes to Udina. It's like, what the hell? Captain Bailey is sent by Udina to investigate Executor Palin, because he says that he's doing some like underground thing, and like he's that Executor Palin is basically committing treason or something like that. And Captain Bailey goes and investigates him and finds him. There's like 2 dead people. I forgot what they were, but it looks like Palin had killed them. And Captain Bailey's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And Executor Palin tells Captain Bailey that it's Udina that is the shady one, that he's doing something, that he's like, there's something going on with Udina. He's the guy that's treason. So it was like Udina and Executor Palin were saying the same thing, but pointing fingers at each other. And Captain Bailey is like, "What?" And Captain Bailey is forced to kill Executor Palin. He kills him and he goes back to Udina and he tells him, and Udina's like, "You did a good job." But now I was like, something is up with Udina. I think he's gonna be like, nobody ever says anything about Udina anymore. For Mass Effect 3, even though everybody freaking hates Udina, where it's like, that guy, I don't like that guy, because he just looks like he's against you. But nobody ever mentions him anymore. And I think he's gonna have a huge role in Mass Effect 3. I just think he's gonna be a bad guy. I think somehow, either he's indoctrinated or something. He's just gonna turn on you, and he's been doing things under the table since Mass Effect 1, I think. And it's such a coincidence how Udina is the one that really pushes the Reapers aren't real, so that the Council won't, so that the Alliance won't go and do a full-blown investigation on it. So it's kind of like Udina is, I don't know, holding you back for a certain reason, like kind of like he doesn't want this whole Reaper thing to be known. So that comic is really good. You guys should see it, or should read it. So yeah, there's this confusion about Executor Palin, because in Mass Effect 2, I believe, there's another Turian. It's another, but there is a confusion, especially with the books, because after Palin was supposed to be dead, he does appear in Retribution, the last novel. So it's kind of like, that doesn't fit, because he's supposed to be dead. And in Mass Effect 2, I believe, it's a different Turian. I believe it was Chelik. But then also, there's another confusion, because a scene that was cut out of Mass Effect 2 was that Palin was killed by a Geth during the Citadel battle, and he was replaced by Chelik, the Turian. You bumped into him in Mass Effect 1. He's got those bright green eyes, but this was cut out. And then, so there's just a confusion of who the hell this Turian is. But if you do see, but it was Palin in Mass Effect 1. In Mass Effect 2, I believe it was a different Turian, because if you look at the face paint, it looks similar but different, and he's wearing a different outfit. Also, in one of Emily Wong's videos, or newsreels things, you could hear that she says that Chelik is the new Executor. That scene where Palin was killed by a Geth was cut out, but it's like the remnants still stayed in there, and maybe because of the Inquisition comic, they wanted Palin to die that way instead of being killed by a Geth. So maybe that's why they just left that whole thing in there where Chelik became the Executor, and Palin still died, but they just changed the way that he died. It's a confusion, but Palin is dead. Biotics are uncommon in Turians, but they aren't impossible. There are Turian biotics. So Turians admire biotics because they're so precise. They're exacting, but their motives are not, they're not fully trusted. They're kind of like hesitant to really trust a biotic. But the Turians that are biotic, they join a team called Cabals, and they're biotic, like a biotic specialist group. I would give anything to see a freaking biotic Turian. Let's briefly talk about the First Contact War. The First Contact War was between the humans and the Turians, and it's called First Contact because that's when they, when the alien races came in contact with the humans for the first time. To the Turians, they don't refer to the First Contact War as the First Contact War. They refer to it as Relay 314 Incident. And what this was the Council had placed like this law after the Rachni Wars that no race could activate a mass relay in uncharted space, like an uncharted mass relay. They couldn't activate it, and the humans did this. The humans activated Relay 314, and it was an uncharted mass relay. And the Turians came to like, they were the police, so they were like, oh hell no, you can't do that. And they encountered the humans, and the humans, this war started. The Turians opened fire on the humans, and the humans retaliated. They fought back, and they took down a bunch of Turian vessels. And the Turians, again, you shouldn't mess with the Turian military. The Turians were like, we're gonna destroy these fools. So it just became this huge war. That's the Evolution comic goes into this. The First Contact War, when the Turians take Shanxi, they basically, the humans were there, they took all the humans out, they took over Shanxi, and then the humans come back, and they kick out the Turians, but it's this huge battle between them. But before things got horrible, the Council stepped in and stopped it all. They were like, this is not worth it, blah blah blah. They stopped it, and they offered the humans to be part of the Citadel community, not the Council, but part of Citadel space. There's still this feud that remains in many humans and Turians. It's like a mistrust. I think one topic when it comes to Turians that not a lot of people know is their religion. And their religion is basically based off spirits. They believe that groups or areas have spirits that basically protected. So like a military unit would be protected by a spirit, and that is shown by that unit's bravery and honor. That's like the spirit of the team. And let's say like in a wider range, like a city, cities also have spirits, and that shows as what the city does, like what they accomplish. Even things that like trees, ancient trees also have spirits. So it's kind of similar to like Native American, like Indian type of spiritual beliefs, where trees have spirits, and the way that shows is the beauty that tree gives to a certain area. So these spirits aren't good, or they're not evil. They're just there. They can't change something in the world. They can only inspire the people around them. So the spirits are there to inspire, not to change. But this is just what many Turians believe. But there is a freedom of religion when it comes to Turians. They could believe whatever they want, as long as it doesn't affect their duty or their job. And when it comes to the Turians in the past, this is also discussed in the Evolution comic. Seriously, this comic is amazing. You guys should read it. I go over it a little bit in my Mass Effect Talks, The Elusive Man. So if you want to know a little bit more about it, go check that out. But I might make a video specifically for the comic later on. The Turians in the past on Palaven used to think that these titans roamed across Palaven, that they would like reach towards the heavens. And there was this temple that was specifically for these titans, and it was called the Temple of Palaven, but it was closed. It was closed down because the Turians they just stopped believing in that stuff, especially after they started to become a space-faring race. Once they started to explore the universe, they were like, we don't really have to rely on these titans to explore the universe. So they just the whole Titans thing and the Temple of Palaven is kind of like more like a legend in Palaven. So they just closed the temple down. They did reopen it in Evolution in the comic for certain reasons. I don't really want to go into it because it is a spoiler, but it does have to do with like the Reapers and all that. But the Turians that preached this religion were called Voluvian priests. They wore like this special tunic, like a purple tunic, I believe. It was very distinctive, and they were that's where they would worship, at the Temple of Palaven. But there was something strange about the Voluvian priests. They had like these like certain powers, and they go into this in Evolution also. This is where you see a Turian husk in Evolution, but if you watch they actually look different though, from what they're going to be looking like in Mass Effect 3. Because if you watch the multiplayer video, the one that BioWare put out not long ago on BioWare TV, the one where they talk about the multiplayer for the first time, in the beginning they show like a computer screen, and somebody's like working on this development, like on a figure, and it looks like a big monster. That is actually a Turian husk, and it looks kind of like Saren did at the end of Mass Effect 1, where it's almost like his mandible is completely missing, but these Mass Effect 3 Turian husks look way bigger. Like they look more menacing. So if you haven't seen that, check that out on that video on BioWare TV, the multiplayer one. It's in the beginning. So yeah, that's basically what the Turians used to worship back then. And I think the Turian, the Temple of Palaven is probably going to come out in Mass Effect 3. Because you are going to be able to travel to Palaven, and the Temple of Palaven is pretty big, especially after the Evolution comic. So I think it's going to have something to do with Mass Effect 3. You're probably going to go in there, or I don't know. There is a picture, a shot on the live stream, the video of the live stream, where they showed a bunch of shots that weren't shown anywhere else of like planets that you were going to be seeing in Mass Effect 3. And one of them I don't know why, I just have a feeling it's on Palin, and it's the one that looks like there's like a golden staircase. There's like an orb in the middle, it's like gold, and there's like a staircase that curves up. I don't know why, I think that's probably on the Temple of Palin. The reason is, if you look at the architecture around that, it's very sharp, and it's not in space, it's on a planet, because you could see the sky, you could see like the blue sky on the top. I think it's on Palin just because of the way that it looks. They're very sharp edges, like the Turian architecture, so I think maybe that's inside the Temple of Palin. That's just a theory of mine. So that concludes my Mass Effect talks on the Turians. Hopefully you found that interesting, maybe learned something new. Again, the Turians are freaking amazing. I love the race. This is the race I'm going to be playing for the multiplayer for Mass Effect 3. I've always wanted to play a Turian, so you guys might be thinking, what the hell, why didn't she talk about Garrus? And Garrus is actually going to be a separate Mass Effect talks, because there's so much to Garrus that if I added him into this Mass Effect talks, it would either be huge, absolutely ginormous, the episode, or I would have to cut out a bunch of stuff, and I really don't want to cut out any stuff for the Turians or for Garrus, so I'm just going to make Garrus a separate episode. So yeah, I guess I will talk to you guys later.